Hello, everyone. It's been a while, but I'm back discussing some wonderful esoteric truths that I've discovered about the Chinese zodiac. Now, the Chinese zodiac should not be referred to, and I will not refer to it as Chinese anymore because I don't believe it is the Chinese zodiac. I think it is very much the Babylonian zodiac, and it is connected to Babylon. You will see here in the center the dragon, the Dogon, or the symbolism of the most powerful evolved creature on Earth. Dragons are today extinct. Many of us have been misinformed about dragons and told that they're in fact dinosaurs that are prehistoric, that have been gone for thousands of years. None of that is true. Dragons are very much part of our world today, and there is a lot of information about dragons. I want to focus on the dragon because it's the reason why I'm so interested in the zodiac, because it's the one animal that we are told does not exist anymore. That's not the main point of my discussion with you today. And if you're patient enough to listen, I am really going to awaken you in a big way. So the Chinese zodiac comes from the land that was at one time Grand Tartary. So I'm going to refer to it as I did with the Great Wall many years ago. I'm going to do the same thing with the zodiac. The zodiac is actually the Tartarian zodiac, and all the animals are prophetic. They work today as they did work thousands of years ago. So I'm going to prove to you, first of all, about the dragon. One of many ways I can do this. I'm going to do it today by talking about Marco Polo. Now, it's been published in many books, and this is a nice little graphic that I collected about 3 years ago, talking about Marco Polo's 17 years in China. Now, if you live for 17 years somewhere, and I don't know why it's that number 17, but if it is 17 years that you live in a country or a part of the world, a continent that is as far as you can get from maybe your original country, your country of origin, or the continent of your origin, you will connect with that esoteric truth, and you will then be blessed, but because the spirits will see you as a permanent resident, and you will no longer be viewed as being separate. The spirits and the ancestors of that land will begin to align with you. That does not mean that you lose your connection with your homeland. It just means that you have acquired more guardian angels than before. This is a powerful thing, and it will hit you like a train. Most people never get the chance to do this. Marco Polo did, and this is what Marco Polo found. And I'm going to read this out to you. Everyone knows Marco Polo as one of the first and most famous Europeans to travel to Asia during the Middle Ages. There haven't been many Western explorers that have lived in Asia, even in 2025. There are not many who have been here long enough to be accepted by these invisible dragons that are sculpted into all Taoist and Buddhist temples. The revolution within China, unfortunately, destroyed the vast majority of temples in mainland China, but mainland China is just one small part of Asia. There are about, I would say, 500 million maybe people living in China today. And here we have this famous European that got to go there at the early dawn of the 13th and 14th century in the Middle Ages, the dawn of civilization. So you can see here, he traveled to Asia during the Middle Ages. However, less people know that after he lived in China for 17 years, around 1271 AD, he returned with reports of families raising dragons. Families raise dragons, family raise bears, families raise turtles, all kinds of esoteric animals. The dragon in the 13th century was unusual to see, as he had never seen that creature before. I've seen many dragons when I've traveled throughout East Asia. There are some animals I have never seen, but there are some animals that you will see flying about, at least the energy of those dragons. And he returned with reports of families raising dragons, yoking them to chariots for parades, training them, and having a spiritual union with them. Interestingly, the 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac are animals, 11 of which are everyday existent creatures: the rat, the horse, the dog. Just because you see many rats, horses, and dogs, and just because they're part of many cultures around the world, doesn't mean they're any less esoteric than a dragon. A dragon is as as much an everyday animal or occurrence as anything else in the 13th century. And even today, there are still dragons today all over China, flying through the sky. Footage of these is usually deleted and filtered. So we have 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac, and 11 of which are everyday existent animals: rabbit, horse, goat, snake, ram, monkey, rooster, dog, pig. The 12th is a dragon. The 13th is actually a cat. But why would the Chinese include the mythological dragon with these common living? Well, because the Tartarians didn't know that dragons would become, endangered, and too many, they are already extinct. Yeah, and they didn't also know that we'd start creating this fake history where dinosaurs existed thousands of years ago, and we shouldn't expect to ever see one. Dinosaurs also were, of course, dragons. Just we rebuilt and recast their skeletons, creating fake giant versions of them in museums. There were obviously giant dragons. There were giant crabs. There were giant snakes, giant birds. That was just before our reset, when there was a higher level of electricity that we call oxygen today in the air. Everything was larger. But that's not the point of what I'm going to focus on now. The ultimate way to hide an empire is to hide its sigils and mascots. So the Protoceratops or Protoceratops fossils of griffins that were found in the 1920s became renamed and recategorized as dinosaurs that were prehistoric, and there was no point looking into that because those are millions of years old. When they were actually griffins that died very recently in the First World War, which was the European invasion of Amaroko, Tameri, America. And that's when thousands of these griffins were massacred because there was this fear of them being retrained by Califia, the Queen of California, the island. Now, there is references to this in The Wizard of Oz. You'll find great esoteric connections. Now, what about the dragon of the Zodiac? Is that also a griffin? Well, it most certainly could be, and it most certainly may well have been, because the Tartarians would have included the griffin or the dragon from their flag, because that was their mascot. So this is the Tartarian Zodiac, taken from the Babylonian Zodiac, which is also a constellation. Why is it so important? And why is it one of the greatest and one of the only alternatives to the Western Babylonian star sign zodiac that we all use today? This is because we now have to discuss museums that are going missing from the lists of top 10 museums in the world that have the largest amount of treasures. One of these is the Palace Museum in Taipei. This has the majority of the treasures, over 140,000 treasures, from the Forbidden City that were taken by Chiang Kai-shek in 1943. This is the only reason why there is a Taiwan today, a Republic of China, because the Communist Party did not want to destroy the ships that had these treasures on. Once the seal of China falls to the bottom of the ocean, it's never found again. The seal of China may well be hidden in this building, and so may well be many other things, such as the original Zodiac. The original Zodiac is not about animals, it's about prophecy. Okay, here's my theory on this. The year of the snake is the year of fire. This is one year that I have pretty much confirmed. All of the years of the snake were years of enormous fires. I believe black nobility, Tartarians, still rule the world today, and I think that the greatest fires of the history of the human race all happened on years of the snake. So we're going from 2025. We had a great fire in 2025 in the United States. Then 2013 we had great fires, the bushfires, California. Then 2001 we had incredible fires there. We had the great fire of, I think it was California fire. We had New York, 1989. Then 1977 was another great fire. Then we have 1966, I think. Then we have the Great Fire of London. So this is not a coincidence anymore. These are so incredibly well linked that the comparisons are powerful indeed. You can do the same with